2. Welcome back, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. It is football season, and I didn't even bother this guy during fake football. I haven't called upon him since the draft, so everything will be fresh, although we've caught up several times this summer, and if you've watched any of the preseason football, as I did, because I didn't drive to Philadelphia for the pretzels and the cheesesteaks. I didn't drive to Washington. So I've heard Coach Billick's voice on my television, and you can find him out on Twitter at Coach Billick. And, of course, anywhere Living Classrooms is doing good stuff. Baltimore Positive. What's up, Coach? How you been?
I'm doing great. Ready for some football to start.
Well, I went back and I actually sat and watched. My wife taped the part where you were with Ray Lewis during the Jacksonville game, and I went back, and you've now seen the Lamar show a couple of times. You've been around it. You feel the enthusiasm. We had Dick Cass out at Roost Chris last week as part of Baltimore Positive and Don Moeller. I think there's a lot of energy in the building, but I think amongst other people like you, me, outsiders, there's a healthy skepticism as to whether they can win a Super Bowl like this.
Well, the only skepticism, if this early in the morning can fumble with that, is can Lamar Jackson indeed stay healthy with the amount of carries that it's projected he may have? For those that followed the broadcast, all 4 weeks we talked about what these numbers might look like. And these are off the charts. Obviously, if you take what he did last year and try to extrapolate it out to an entire season, you're talking better than 350 carries. And certainly that's not going to happen. There was only one running back last year in all the NFL. That was Ezekiel Elliott that ran the ball more than 300 times. But the question is it going to be 160, 180, 200? When I asked John Harbaugh early in training camp, would he be north or south of 140? And I chose that number because Cam Newton in 2017 ran the ball 139 times, which was the highest ever in the history of the NFL for a quarterback. And he, without hesitation, said over. And so that got me thinking about, what do these numbers actually look like? And if he is on a 160, 170, 180 path, if he can stay healthy, we're going to see a running offense better than 2,500 yards, clearly lead the league in the NFL. And even if he comes close to what he did last year throwing the ball, I put out there on the broadcast, he likely could be a 400 attempt, maybe 60% completion, 2,700 yards. His 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio would give him 14 TDs to 7 interceptions. Not, particularly special numbers in the passing game, but as an augment to the running game and what looks again to be a top-ranked defense, this truly, as Coach Harbaugh's talking about, could be an unprecedented offense.
Coach Billick joining us here, of course, always on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation. We got Maritime Magic coming up in a couple of weeks. You can get your tickets at livingclassrooms.org for all of that. It's the best party of the year. Got some New Orleans music coming in for this one. Coach, you held the keys to this for so long as an offense coordinator and as a head coach. In the way this thing has been constructed, and I know that you have a lot of respect for Eric DeCosta, where you were in, let's say, 1998 running a Randall Cunningham offense versus where we are in 2019 and the way defenses are structured and the way speed works in this league and the way the salary cap works when you have a first contract quarterback, no matter who that quarterback is, and what you can build around that player. This isn't necessarily the way you would have done it. I mean, and remembering your drafts and how you like tall quarterbacks, you like to throw the football and the verticals and all the stuff that you pushed. If they put you in charge of this offense, if you're Greg Roman, what do you like about driving this offense in 2019?
Well, I think the uniqueness and the comparison you're making is valid, except this is a different time right now. When you look at Kyler Murray in Arizona and what they're doing, obviously now with Lamar Jackson, this is going to be, we're going to see, there could be a sea change in the NFL. I've been one that, as you said earlier, a little pessimistic about whether that college game can find its way into the NFL. But if Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray can have success and stay healthy, we're going to see a whole rash of college quarterbacks and college coaches come into the NFL. Now, if they get hurt or they don't have the productivity, we'll see it go by the way of the run and shoot and the Chip Kelly offense and all those others that have tried to come into the league, and revolutionize the league and then crash and burn. So that's really what it comes down to. But based on their commitment to this style of play with Lamar Jackson. Of course, they're going to build the defense the best way they can, as they always do. Offensively, yes. Obviously, whether it comes to the big, young receivers on the outside, obviously the slot presence of Willie Snead and now their first-round draft choice in Hollywood Brown, adding a big physical back, Mark Ingram, and certainly a Gus Edwards to go with the running that Lamar Jackson will have. They're all in, and they piece this thing together in a way that, again, if you can stay healthy, then this is going to truly be unique. And if indeed they can stay healthy and they live up to the numbers that I put out on the broadcast, they're going to be in the thick of a Super Bowl run.
Coach, my wife did tape the Jacksonville game. I was there. I was sitting next to Luke up in the press box. I looked up and saw Ray Lewis and you sitting and making nice and having fun and laughing. And I wondered what you had talked about. And my wife went through the DVR literally Labor Day weekend. And I sat and I watched the 15-minute exchange. And, aside from the Ed Reed stuff and everything you talked about with nostalgia, once the two of you got to talking about real football, and I felt like I was in a locker room with you all over again, and I saw a Hall of Fame football player and a, kind of wise guy head coach licking their lips about what it would look like to have number 8 running outside the pocket and getting a clean hit on a quarterback in a league that doesn't want you headhunting on quarterbacks. And I see this Miami game, and I remember that Kiko Alonso hit on Flacco here 2 years ago. And, I remember that it's the Wild Wild West, and it's not preseason anymore. And we saw a quarterback get taken out 2 weeks ago, sort of sized up, head up, and drilled down McMahon style from 30 years ago. That doesn't happen in the pocket anymore. But once these guys get running outside the pocket, every Ray Lewis, every hungry linebacker and safety, I'm not saying kill shot because we're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to say that working for the NFL Network. But I've seen the way the game's played, and I know the way football players think. This is not a good prescription when he's running around outside the tackles 200 times a game.
Well, it was very telling, I thought, with Ray. It was very, obviously positive and feels great because everybody just loves this kid. He's dynamic. Players love him. They see the potential and the talent. But Ray, I think maybe in an unguarded moment, as we were talking about it, because I asked Ray, I said, okay, if you had a kid like this running around, what would be your take? He just kind of smiled and said, oh, that's not going to happen.
Well, he said on the air, if he's a problem, we're going to make sure he's not a problem, which is kind of like what you would expect him to say in the huddle. And I have a feeling that's kind of 16 in a row. That's what's going to be happening on the other side of the football.
Well, the challenge is going to be that, like we saw in the second San Diego game, everybody's going to put 8 and 9 people in the box. Because their plan, and it's a well-laid-out plan with Greg Roman, is to minimize his exposure between the tackles, get outside the pocket either to run or to get the throws down the field, not run much between the tackles like we see a Cam Newton that I alluded to earlier, and obviously the time synchronized throws, 3, 5, 7-step drop, that's not necessarily his game. Now, defenses know that. So they're going to say, no, we're if you're going to beat us, one, you're going to do it inside the pocket. You're going to have chances with one-on-one down the field because we're going to stack the box. We're going to make you run between the tackles. We're going to hit you in the pocket, and we're going to, make you execute from there. We're not going to let you outside the pocket because if you let him outside the pocket, it's over. It's game, set, and match because of what he can do with his legs, throwing to these big receivers down the field, not the least of which is the tight ends. That's going to be lethal. So you can see defenses we're not going to let you outside. Now, if you can run in the middle and you can throw from the pocket and beat us, then so be it. You're just a better team than we are, and that's the National Football League. But we're not going to let you outside the pocket, and I can see beginning right from the get-go with Miami. Now, whether they're a good enough team to execute that, and then the question becomes, can Lamar Jackson, when he gets these one-on-one matchups on the outside, because there's not a lot of reading involved with that. You do simplify it for a young quarterback when you play that much man, because it's, okay, is this guy open, is that guy open? You're not having to read trap zones and rotating zones and who's open and who's not and hold the ball in the pocket. So if you're going to build that 8-man front and bring some pressures both for the run and the pass and play man on the backside, it's going to create opportunities. Can Lamar Jackson take advantage of those opportunities enough for people to go, forget it, we got to get back into some zone, and now he's going to kill you outside the pocket?
Coach Billick bringing his usual candor to us, as well as his partnership on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation and Maritime Magic. Coming up on the 27th of the month, you can learn more about everything they do at Living Classrooms to make Baltimore better. They are truly the beginning of my Baltimore positive journey with Coach Billick. Miami feels like they're beginning with the JV here this week down there, and then Arizona. You know, I checked the Vegas odds. Miami's 300-1 to win the Super Bowl. Arizona's 200-1. They are the two, 31st and 32nd choices. I mean, I know many times you thought the NFL conspired to screw us, Coach, but this is the one year where I look at the schedule and say, man, the schedule gods have smiled upon the franchise here to start the season. And certainly, if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, I don't know why you're getting off the beach Sunday to come over and watch this.
Yeah, I don't know what the Miami franchise did to piss off the league, but when you look at their opening schedule, and you can see why they're probably starting with Fitzpatrick, because they open at home against Baltimore and New England. Now, we know in Miami in September, early September, the weather's a factor, but that's Baltimore and then Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, who have struggled in Miami early, you must say. Then they go to Dallas, and then they're at home against the Chargers. So and then they have the bye. Well, you can see, I think it's written all over that, they're going to stumble around if they can get a win in that opening month. And then you're going to see Josh Rosen come in because we know Ryan Fitzpatrick is not the long-term answer. And I don't see a very good team in Miami. So this is a good opener for Baltimore. You can't disrespect or underestimate any opponent. But I agree with you. I like the way the schedule's laid out for Baltimore. It's got a chance for them to get confidence and get this unique offense rolling early compared to Miami. That this is not a great schedule for them.
Weird August all the way around, whether it's Antonio Brown being a knucklehead and the Andrew Luck thing last week, and now we have Miami, and we open up with this with a team that's fully sort of tanking at this point. We see this in baseball. I'm very familiar with this in baseball, Coach, but in the NFL, a sell-off on Labor Day weekend, I can't think of anything that's been like a fire sale like this.
Well, let's go back to Oakland last year, where it was kind of like, we're going to clean the decks and put this thing together for real the next year. And they bring in Mike Mayock, and he and Gruden in total control, and we'll see how that turns out. Remember, they went 4-12 last year. And Miami appears to be doing the same thing under first-year head coach Brian Flores coming from New England, and he's trying to follow the Belichick model. And like a lot of the guys that have left Belichick and gone to become head coaches, in terms of just the way he's approaching it, his demeanor, the way they're recrafting the roster. The problem is you got to win a game in the NFL before you can begin to act like Belichick. And I can't say that their approach that they're taking isn't sound, but you talk about clearing the decks, how the fans are going to react to that, and then what do you do going forward? How do you build this going forward? Not the least of which, as we alluded to, what's your quarterback situation? Like I said, after the first 4 games, I think Fitzpatrick will be gone, and now we're going to see Josh Rosen because they're going to find out, okay, do we have our quarterback of the future? This was a first-round draft choice, 11th pick of the draft 2 years ago that Arizona moved up to get. Is he indeed the guy, or does that got to, because Miami could easily be sitting there with the first overall pick next year and take whatever quarterback's available in the college.
Be a guy named Tua, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Coach Billick joining us here. The rest of the league, any thoughts on Andrew Luck? And I know we'll be watching you on NFL Network. You're looking at all of these teams, but you got a team or two that has sort of caught your eye that's not called the Cleveland Browns?
Well, obviously the Cleveland Browns are the darling of the league right now, and the challenge for them, and it's rightfully so. I never thought I'd hear these words come out of my mouth, but Cleveland is the favorite to win the AFC North after having been so bad for so long. But they obviously John Snyder's done a great job putting that organization together. Baker Mayfield appears to be the real deal. So everybody's kind of on board with that. I think the Ravens are a little under the radar. I see a lot of picks that have them under 500. And again, if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, I think they're clearly underestimating what they're going to do. I thought the AFC South, top to bottom, was the best division in the NFL, with Houston, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Tennessee, because you look at the quarterback situation. Well, with Andrew Luck gone, that kind of drops them out of the equation, in my opinion. But that with Houston and obviously Deshaun Watson, what he's doing with the advent of Nick Foles in Jacksonville, I think that's going to make a major difference with a team that probably perform a great deal like the Ravens. Heavy run, great defense. And I still think Marcus Mariota can be pretty good in Tennessee. So that's certainly going to be an interesting division to have any one of these teams come out of it. In the AFC West, obviously Kansas City, and can they follow through? This is going to be the thing. Are the Raiders really going to be any better? I think Joe Flacco with Vic Fangio are going to be much better in Denver. And Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, they're talking about, making a Super Bowl run. So the exciting thing is I think, notwithstanding New England Patriots, because they're going to be at the top, and until someone displaces them, and they're playing in a division that doesn't look real good again. So, clearly it could likely go through New England again. It's going to be kind of wide open as to who's going to challenge New England in the AFC. In the NFC, again, it's kind of dealer's choice. The Rams, their natural choice, but can they follow up? And I don't see another team in the NFC. I see some good teams that could challenge. I think Philadelphia is going to be good. Chicago seems to be a favorite. Green Bay, and anytime we got Aaron Rodgers, Minnesota could rebound real well. Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans. And New Orleans Saints are the team everybody's picking. Everybody's picking New England and New Orleans to be in the Super Bowl, and on paper, I don't know that you can argue with that. And in the West, of course, the Rams and can the 49ers with Garoppolo finally take that step. Seattle is always lurking around as well. So it's going to be kind of fun because I think this is as wide open NFL or NFC AFC as we've seen in a long time.
All right, September 29th is going to be a special day around here. I'm probably going to write something nice about you, but back in your Redlands days of the Brown Bomber Jackets, if they would have said, Brian Billick, you'll have your name in lights on the side of a stadium score. This is awesome. I think it's long overdue. I know you've always been sort of, it'll happen if it's meant to happen. Now that we're getting up on this is going to be a big day for you at the end of the month, right?
It is, and the closer we get to it, it's not something I really wrap my head around a lot. I'm very appreciative to Steve and Renee Bisciotti and the organization and to extend that honor to me. But as we get closer to it and family and friends and some of the coaches that are going to come back and to be a part of that, and most of all, to have my grandsons look up there, and I don't know that they can process it, but now to have my grandsons who really don't, they see me on TV, but really don't process what I did before.
Have they seen the match game yet or no? No, they haven't seen that one yet.
No, I can't. I don't know if they can wrap their heads around that. But to look up and see their pop's name in the stadium and to be there, I think later on, their ability to process that's going to be something really special.
Hey, it's been quite a ride. I'm very appreciative of everything you've done for us as a partner here at WNST and everything you do for Living Classrooms. And it's great to see you in the purple shirt with Sandusky doing the preseason. I wish the games were better. I mean, I went after Dick Cass and Baltimore Positive last week just about what are they going to do. They're going to play 18 games eventually, right? I mean, that's where this thing feels like it's headed to me.
Yeah, I think so. Now, frankly, I got to see how that's put together because I'm not a fan of that, but it doesn't matter. They didn't ask me, and they're going to do it anyway. But there's a lot of different plans being floated out there in terms of active, how many times a player can be on the active roster, actually participate in 16 of the 18, and what is that, how does that push the season back? You're still going to start it after Labor Day, I would think, which means you're not talking about the Super Bowl being in mid-February. So there's a lot of moving parts to this. Obviously, the union's got to sign off on it. I just got to see what kind of final form this looks like, and it'll be what it's going to be.
Well, I mean, I appreciate you doing preseason football because you bring a sense of humor that's necessary. I think to broadcast it, so it has made it enjoyable to watch you all August, and feels like I've had you in my living room for a couple hours. So we'll catch up during the course of the season. We'll see you on a big weekend with Maritime Magic as well as the Ring of Honor coming up a little later on in the month. Thanks, Coach, for everything.
Sounds great.
Coach Brian Billick, you can find him, Coach Billick, out on Twitter. He's always out opining there, as well as at the NFL Network, as well as our partner on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation here for going on about 12, 13 years now at WNST. Very appreciative. So get on out, support the coach. Come see the Browns game. That used to be the Patsy game. Now, I thought that was like a homecoming game, but now it's a Billick Ring of Honor and big game after the Chiefs game coming up on the 29th. You can find us out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world on your mobile device. The morning newspaper, new, improved, with audio, video, Baltimore Positive, all brought to you by Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com, where it's always $5 down, $10 a month to get in the best shape of your life. And last but never least, breaking news happens first on the WNST Tech Service. Dennis Kolatzos will be here on Thursday from 3 until 5, driving you home. It is the SSV on WNST. And that's replayed on Sunday mornings as well. All brought to you by Coons Ford Security Boulevard. That is our tech service. Big appreciation for Dennis and all the people that make WNST happen, including our friends at Roofing by Elite, Maryland's most trusted roofer since 1999. Roofing by Elite is committed to providing their customers with the finest roofing services and installs available. Make sure you're checking that out. Building Equity and Educational Equity and Housing Affordability Conference. I'm participating in this down at the Meeting House in Columbia next month. Reverend Al Hathaway is going to be joining us this week at Jennings. We're going to be talking about that event in Center, Maryland, and a lot of Baltimore positive issues. We talk about things that can make our community better. I've been spending this summer talking about that. We've got Dick Cass on this week and Ron Shapiro. You can check all that out at Baltimore Positive as well. Fadley's is one of our great sponsors. They're down this week. The world-famous crab cakes in Lexington Market. State Fair in Catonsville, always open late, serving the delicious food. Can't believe you can go in there at like 1 a.m. and get like chicken and waffles. It's insane with the raspberry sauce. Delicious. 748 Frederick Road. We'll be there next week with Ben Jealous. And at Jennings Cafe, where we're this week and again next week with Sarah Heminger from Thread. You can find our full schedule up at Baltimore Positive as well. All of our sponsors. Thanks to Full Circle Tire and Auto and Johnny D's and Adams Extreme. We're going to be up there doing some shows. Greenmount Station. We have Matt Skur up in Carroll County, Hampstead. So and Hammer and Nails. I'm wearing a hat right now because I need a haircut. It's not Faith's fault. It's not Brad's fault. It's my fault. I'll be out at Hammer and Nails this week as well. Big appreciation to everybody keeping WNST rocking. Now into our 22nd year. Serving the people. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST, Towson, Baltimore. We never stop talking Baltimore sports.